Now we know the truth about Elizabeth and Meliodas' past, not to mention as well, everyone suiting up the war, everyone going to help and go and rescue Merlin, with a few other people as well, seemingly tagging along the way as well for this arc, like getting ready to wrap up the finale for the big grand second saga, as I would describe it, for Seven Deadly Sins. Now, there's a few things to catch up and all that, as always and all that. What's trying to do weekly, and then just a lack of just time and place and all that, doing it. So I hate that I had to keep doing catch-up videos with the series and all that. But even still and all that, we need to go and talk about some of the stuff and all that, because it's been pretty nuts and all that since we haven't talked about it, since 219, got 220 up to 222 to talk about and all that this week. So definitely some stuff and all that to be said about like what's been happening, and also as well setting up for the finale and all that, which I do rather enjoy. Firstly and all that, we're going to be talking about the fact that like with Merlin as well, after she got attacked by Zeldris and all that, she was in a shitty condition for a while, because even though considering as well like she tried to play it up, everyone was trying to celebrate after everyone's gotten back together, and she was trying to be with everyone and trying to act like it was normal and everything, but the fact of the matter is and all that, like she was even warning, the fact that even Merlin there and all that, as everyone's like, we've got to take it there. Even Merlin, it was like, if you're gonna act like clowns and all that, you're gonna, like, our opponent's power is not unknown and all that, you're gonna be killed, stop acting like children. And the fact of the matter is that Meliodas was the only one that noticed this, alongside, like, from what we saw with Escanor. They were the only two that noticed the fact that Merlin was actually in a really bad condition. Like, even like Meliodas going up there to see her, even though she was trying to get away from the whole, like, party and everything to make sure no one worries. The fact she had, like, pretty much bedridden, and it's like, the interesting thing that she said though, and also as well, this sets up a lot of thing with like what, like maybe we might be getting a lot more about Merlin's past next, same thing with Escanor, is exactly what she asked to Meliodas, is saying that they need to go Lioness, and also as well as saying that, you know, we need to protect Arthur, and it's like she's saying, I can't lose Arthur, he is my hope, and Escanor hears this, and you know how prideful that motherfucker is, so there's going to be some shit honestly regarding that, and Escanor thinks that, you know, she really deeply cares for him. Now the question is though, we know that Merlin's survived for a very long time, you know how old she is, and the question is exactly, what is her relation to Arthur? Arthur is finally coming into play now, which I think Arthur, for the longest time, apart from the time that he was hyped up right early, even as well when he was hyped up and all that, from the start, like what we got to see of like the first saga, like with all that we got to do with the knights, like even the fact, I felt like he was very underwhelmed for the most part, and he got incredibly just bodied as soon as like Meliodas and everyone just else arrived, and I want to know what his whole deal is, whether or not there's actually a reason for her eternity magic that is linked somehow to him, maybe that's somehow that keeps her alive, whether or not she's actually a fucking, like, his son, like, son or something like that. That would be pretty nuts, like, saying, like, she actually was with someone. I don't know if that would be the case and all that, but clearly there's some either relation towards these two and all that, or she has a reason to keep him around and all that, and, like, maybe actually generally, like, cares about him, like, in a way. I still think, you know, like, there's still the romance thing is, like, between Escanor and Merlin, but, like, even as well and all that, from what we're going to be seeing there, I want it to be at least and all that, like, Escanor could see this, and I really am looking forward as well to, like, Escanor being a little bit more, added into this and all that, because I genuinely love Escanor. I think Escanor's badass, and every, like, scene that he's had and all that, and every, like, action and all that has been fantastic, and even as well, even when, like, he's in his pussy form and all that, I do kind of enjoy him because he's a little bit jokester and all that, but I look forward to most and all that, to finding about Merlin's backstory and what ties him to, like, Arthur. Maybe she was the one, like, she was about to be killed and Arthur saved him. There's other things that we could say on there. So I'm looking forward to that. But then with the next chapter afterwards is when, like, one of the characters that we wasn't expecting to go out there at all, and it's actually Margaret, who we've always seen as, like, the damsel in distress for the most part and all that, is actually setting out with, like, a rapier and a battle armor, and what the hell is she gonna fucking do? I have no idea and all that. Clearly she thinks she's gonna be able to do something against the commandments, whether or not she has some, like, sort of, like condition where she could actually summon, like, one of the goddesses, like that one guy did, like, and it just failed miserably, whether or not she's gonna try and help Elizabeth awaken to her powers or something, because I still think, as much as what we've seen of Elizabeth and all that, I still think there's a lot more that she could attain throughout like the entirety of like her skills and everything. I think that's going to be something. And we even had like, even as well in like 221, we had this really heartwarming moment between like Meliodas and like Elizabeth, and like her saying like, you know, like Meliodas is trying to keep quiet about everything, and like about, you know, what the coincidence between like all the Elizabeth that he's met in the past. And the question is just like, you know, what it's like, she even asked like Meliodas like, you know, oh, like what's the whole like thing and all that with like, you met a girl that was a part of the goddess and all that, and she was completely identical to me. And Meliodas didn't want to make her worry and everything, and he's scared like about saying anything to her and all that. It's just like, you know, like like she may be ready and all that to talk to him about it and actually have the courage and all that, but Meliodas isn't. Like, he doesn't want to explain that whole thing. And like, and there was this really sad moment where she was like, I trust you more than anyone in the entire world, like Meliodas and all that, I care and all that. And like, even the fact that Barn and King, two people that had like fucking problem, even fucking King of all people, that's having like had so many problems with like the whole talk to the fucking Diane, that even these two are shitting on him for this. And it's just like, good job, shit lord, you made her cry. It's like, and they're taking the piss out of him, saying like, you got a little lover's try there. And it's like, no, fuck off, you two are the worst with it as well. You fucking Barn going for that pedo shit, like, get out of here and all that. I love you, Barn, but your fucking choice in women is questionable. King, you're the biggest pussy in the world, and it took Diane to push that shit forward and all that. So I like, even these two are fucking shitting on him. Like, Meliodas gets so pissed off, he just blows a hole in Barnes' chest, and he's just like, I can't do that to King because I'd accidentally kill him. Just flick him really hard like that. Just fucking like, fuck you two piece of shit. And like, that's what I really liked about the chapter, is like, just after that, it's saying like, when Elizabeth was like, I'm prepared to accept whatever you have to say, no matter what it is, so please. And just Meliodas just like fucking like wiping the dust off, taking a look at the clouds and just sighing. He's like, I'm not ready to say it yet. Like, Meliodas is scared because he's afraid to lose what he has there already. And like, even as well, with all that, Elizabeth goes straight to Merlin as she's under the curse of Zeltmus, and it's like, yeah, you curse goddess Elizabeth and all that, even still you make my brother suffer throughout all this time. And like 222 is what the answer of what does that mean with the cursed princess, like the goddess, like what is that? And the fact is, it's like, already we get the explanation of what exactly is the deal with Elizabeth, with Liz, with the goddess, all of this and all that. Every time you die, you lose your memories of the previous world as you are reincarnated, and by fate, whatever it is, you are always like going to meet and all that Meliodas again and again and again. This has been 40 or 50 times this has happened. Meliodas fell in love with the goddess, and every time he's thought and all that by destiny, or whether he's trying to find means anyhow and all that, he always runs into like Elizabeth, like slash Liz, and that is the reason as well and all that, like whether or not he could tell after a while, although it was really still kind of creepy as well that like he saw like, you know, Elizabeth as a child, and it's like, this is his lover like after all this time. So it's like, the fact that she can't remember all of this and all that, and her reaction to this is just, I'm happy, because like the two and all that were always like just so happy together, and she's just like, I want to remember and all this, I want to like remember all the times that we've had. And like Zeldris is just like, if that's so and all that, after all of that and all that, I'll make you remember everything, like after everything that we've done. And like, the thing is, though, and all that, with all of that she saw and all that, it seems like Elizabeth has remembered after she managed to bring Merlin out of the curse. Like, and it took quite a lot of energy out of her, but she's just like, she went out and just started crying her eyes out, and it was just because, like, she's just so happy after everything. Like, she was really, like, just over the moon, so I remember everything. And it's like, honestly, even though Zeldris meant that to, like, kind of, like, fuck her up and everything, it was more like she actually generally appreciated it more than everything. I think Zelda, she made me more happier than anything, but then again, she kind of understands the whole reason and isn't confused by it. So whether or not that's going to be whole, like, reluctant and all that, but I definitely think the whole Elizabeth and Meliodas kind of relationship thing and all that that's been going on for a while, that's going to probably reach its conclusion at the end of this arc, I feel, and then lead up to like the big final arc this saga that we've been talking about. Now, mind you, this one's been going on for a long time, since like chapter 100, and already and all that is already like the same amount and then some and all that. We're already like, you know, double and a quarter like there, already on there. So generally the fact that we've got this like whole arc wrapping up, and what I love the most and all that, like, one of my favorite things about what them going into this next part and all that, with this final, like, part of the saga, I really like that everyone is already prepared because they've got their old armor on. I fucking love that detail on that. It's like, we need to be prepared for war. Let's get our fucking suits on. Let's get our helmet. Like, I love the fact that that's like they've got their old gear on and all that, and then they set it up, and it's just like, the fact of the matter is, like, you know, even as well, it set up the whole thing as well with Escanor. Escanor was like, even though, like, you know, Merlin was there saying thank you to everything they did, like Escanor and all that, you know, if it wasn't for you and all that, you wouldn't have noticed my situation, and no one would have caught wind of this shit. That's what I loved. And then the fact of the matter is, like, when we saw this shit as well, and it's like, look, Meliodas, what is your plan? What are we gonna do and all that? Because we need to get there. And they're like, look, we might have to go, like, you know, we're about like 250 miles and all that away from the area. We need to get there and, as soon as possible and all that. And it's saying, like, we're gonna be heading to the city, like the stronghold of the Conrad first, which, you know, apparently it was destroyed a century ago in the Great Massacre. Now, it's been a while and all that since I've seen it, but I believe Conrad is like the actual area that Meliodas destroyed. I'm not too sure. That might have been something completely different. I can't remember, like, the whole village there, like if that was the place that he destroyed, or if that was something else to do with a different reason. Like, because I know also as well there's that light novel as well, and I think that place was destroyed, but I haven't read, like, the whole vampire thing, which like showed off Escanor for the first time. So I believe it's in the area of Meliodas. So if I get that part wrong, I'm sorry, or unless this is a place we don't know too much. But the fact and all that, like, of all of this is going through that, and the fact of this matter as well and all that, like, as well, we've got this thing going with Elaine, and the setting up as well as whether or not she's gonna, like, actually disappear and all of that, because we've got the whole thing with Meliscula, where, like, they're gonna fucking deal with her, and if Meliscula dies, then, you know, Elaine goes as well. So that sets up things like, is Barn gonna actually do that or not? I feel like Elaine is gonna be like someone like, you need to let me go, like Barn and all that. It's been way too, you know, long and everything since, like, you've had me and all that, and it's like, I don't belong being alive right now. So whether or not they're gonna try and do that or Seal, I feel like if anything and all that, this would be a nice time to set up saying, like, Barn kind of letting go of, like, his old lover and all that. And besides, he's already got that other bitch as well, so it's, he can go and mess up with, like, all that stuff as well. So generally we'll have to see and all that. But then again, like, I think there's a lot about these chapters that I generally enjoyed and all that. I feel like probably the one that had the least amount of content, I'd say, is the one after Zelda's attack, because that was setting up as well for the Arthur thing, which we still don't know too much about. But then as well, like, it did a few things here and there. So each and every chapter was good. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. I think the strongest ones out of them all was definitely 221. I really love that side of Meliodas and all that, where it's like, even as well, Meliodas is just, he's not ready to accept it yet, that, you know, all the memories coming back, and, like, Elizabeth confronting him about that. I really like that stuff. If you guys know, I'm a very weak man when it comes to a little bit of romance stuff and like here and there, and especially 222, it kind of, like, included that stuff as well with Elizabeth, and her reaction to it is just like, you know, like, I'm just happy. I'm generally happy with all this and all that. So generally that, and as well, we're setting up for, like, the finale of this arc. Like, I feel like, now mind you, when I say the finale of this arc, I don't mean it's going to end in like 5-10 chapters. This is still going to be going on for a while. Whether or not this ends in like a year's worth of chapters, like if it ends in like 50 odd chapters, whether or not it would be like wrapping up the 60, or maybe even like heck and all that, if it ends up on 300 and all that, I wouldn't be surprised if you try to do that. That still sets up all that stuff, and then we've got one more arc. So after the commandments, like, are we gonna, like, tackle the goddess? Like, are we gonna attack the goddess tribe next? Are they the next ones? Because they're the ones that we haven't heard a lot about and all that. Like, they've been set up and showed off how strong they are a few times, but considering how powerful and, like, what they did and all that, they probably want, like, Elizabeth back. They know probably what she is, and, like, exactly saying, you're part of that tribe. Not to mention as well, I'm pretty sure Elizabeth is a very, from what, the fact that she was able to, like, that head guy way back in the past and all that, she had a bit of fucking clout, so I'm pretty sure Elizabeth has got a lot of power on her, and they definitely don't want that to fall into the wrong hands, especially with someone they don't trust like Meliodas, who is a, you know, a demon who used to be one of the 10 Commandments. So other than that, yeah, like, I'm sorry guys and all that I keep missing out on talking about this stuff. I generally love Sins and all that, and the fact is I hope you guys just understand and all that. It's kind of hard to keep up to it all the time as well, and other serious stuff, and as well trying to work out through my own stuff as well. But I just hope you guys know, just because I don't talk about it every week doesn't mean like I think it's like inferior to anyway. In fact, it's like probably my favorite weekly thing I'm reading right now and all that, and it's definitely and all that something I'm looking forward to talking a lot more and all that. It's definitely helping a lot more with like the fairy tale ending as well. I definitely look forward to talking about this more and maybe even doing more discussions about it and all that. But that is all from me and all that. Thank you as always for watching. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Full thumbs up on each chapter. Like, I really enjoyed them, and I want to ask like what you guys think and all that about every single thing we talked about today and all that about this. So let me know in the comment section down below. It's all from me, and I'll see you guys though next